we are learning fly front zipper. For women's wear, fly front zipper is set on the right side. So the placket curtain is on the right side of the wear. So this is the example that the pants I did. So the right side, you will have facing attached one side of the zipper. On the left side, you will have sandwich a zipper between shield and pants. So pants, zipper, and shield, fly shield. For the notebook item, I will, in order to scan this for you to download from Canvas, I might cut part of the side seam off, so you have the pattern to work to sew the zipper. On the right pants, like we said earlier, you will set facing. So here's the pattern for the fly front facing. In industry, if this is the right side of the fabric, they will lay fabric facing down. The fusing with glue on top will apply the fusing on the back of the fabric. So you will have fly facing. Pretty much all the facing need to be fused, and it just depends. Different type of fusing. Sometimes thicker, sometimes woven, sometimes it's just a fusing like paper, like lightweight fusing. So you have this pattern on your right leg, for your right leg, fly front zipper notebook. On the left leg, you will have fly shield, and you also will apply fusing on your fly shield. And you will fold them in half. After you fuse, you will fold them in half like this. And this is the fly facing. So, you know, for this notebook, you will have 6 pieces, including fusing and facing pattern. Now, I'd like to explain a little bit about the pattern. For the right leg, the green stitch dotted line indicates front crotch seam from zipper opening to front crotch seam, and continue smooth. But the edge of the pattern is angled, and you see the notch here. This indicates the end of zipper, 7 inches from half inch down from the waist seams. This is 7 inches. This type of seam we call jog seam, J-O-G, jog seam. In pattern making, you have created the jog seam, so you have space to do your notch. That's why I have this square extra half inch corner. And continue. So you see the seam is smooth all the way. And 1/4 inch to set facing. And then at the end of facing, after we set the zipper, the remaining seam allowance for the crotch seam is half inch regular. On the left hand, you have 3/4 inch seam allowance. The first half inch is to set zipper and shield. So from the seam down to the notch is also 7 inches. This type of seam we call jog seam. Okay, just like the right leg, seam smooth all the way. But in order to apply zipper shield with this 1/4 inch overlap, that you will not be able to see the zipper. Here's a 1/4 inch notch. The rest of half inch fall under. That's to set zipper and a shield. So when you zip your pants, you have that 1/4 inch overlap. So you won't see the zipper when you zip your garments. So the quality we need to remember. So don't set your fly front zipper like this and reveal the zipper. That will be not appropriate, not a great quality of sewing. So go back to the pattern so you understand why on the waistline, on the left hand, you have 3/4 inch at first, and then jog seam, the remaining of the front crotch seam became 1/2 inch, and then the seam is smooth, the center front seam is continuous smooth. So you understand the reason of the pattern making. There are 2 techniques to make pattern for your fusing pieces. One way is to cut just an eighth all the way around, smaller than your fabric yourself. The other way is lay all the pattern pieces on your material. Make sure you have enough, and then you can trace lightly, and then cut same size of block. It's called block fusing. This is fusible weft. You can feel that this is glue side, and this is the back of the fabric. The glue side would face the back of material and iron it. Sometimes the glue is very thick. It's better to lay a piece of muslin on top to avoid stickiness when you iron it. Okay, after you iron it, you already estimate the size of the block, so you will be enough to cut your facing pieces that's already fused. Now, this is for this sample, you only have 2 pieces. In industry, sometimes you have many pieces, such as to make a shirt, you have top collar, you have 2 cuffs, you have maybe a top opening of the pocket, so you have more pieces, and then you will lay all the pieces to estimate, and then you will, in industry, we cut 1 inch extra just in case, because sometimes in industry they have many pieces and they combine different sizes, make a marker and cut at once. So it's almost a standard. They have to leave extra 1 inch for in case of shrinkage after you iron and such. So this technique is called block fusing. Let's start from the right pan. You will bring your fly facing right side, face right side. Realize you have 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you stitch single needle, regular stitch. You need to move your fabric since it's towards the crotch area, the seam gets curved. So the red dots indicate end of zipper. So you will sew that past the red dot, reverse stitch. So I pin 1/4 inch. Just pretend we are sewing that 1/4 inch seam allowance. After single needle stitch, you will go to iron board, press the seams toward the facing side, and apply under stitch, or it's called flat stitch. For this type of fabric, and 1/16 away from seam is appropriate. Don't stitch too wide. Now, thicker fabric, you will stitch wider, such as 1/8. So you will apply under stitch and press to the fall under and press it. For the left pant, you have 1/2 inch to match to set your one side of the zipper tape, sandwich that zipper tape between the pants and the shield. So 1/2 inch, you can if you think sandwich this zipper tape between 2 object like pens and shield, if you think you might move the material, shift the make the zipper shifted, you could hem basting, 1/2 inch below seams, and you can do big hem basting stitch to set this on the pants first. The hem basting stitch, if you think you might move the zipper tape, or you sew crooked or uneven because you are doing sandwiching zipper tape between shield and pants, you can hem basting zipper tape onto your pants, left pant first. Now here's how you tie the knot. Say you thread, I can tie the knot at the end to have stronger 4-ply thread, or I can tie the knot only on one end. And this is how you make a knot. You put your thread end on your middle finger, and you leave a needle on top, and you wrap around 3 times, 4 times. I sometimes like to use my ring finger to hold the loop, and you pull it out so you have a knot. And if it's too long at the end, you can cut it. But this is basting stitch. Hand basting stitch, just like machine basting, you will remove it's for only temporary purpose. You will remove the stitching after you finish the final stitching. So I usually like to leave the knots on top so I can take it out easily. And you can just stitch 1/2 inch apart, go under 1/4 inch. Go under 1/4 and leave 1/2 inch on top. It just stabilizes to set the zipper. So you will set the zipper and basting, passing the zipper end. That will help. Okay, after you've done the whole thing, you can cut it off, and you can remove the stitching after you set the shield. But we can leave it like that for now, but you have to hand basting if you think that helps you. You don't have to do this step, but you try and you see the difference. But the more you sew, the more comfortable, the more skill you will become. So for beginner, it's good to do that extra step. And you will go to machine, and you will use the skinny foot. This is skinny foot. If I leave on top here, and you will sew just next to the zipper tape. That 1/8 is very helpful. So your shield zipper is not set so tight. You have some room here. Okay, so this is good to use this side to set your left hand. Set your zipper tape between fly shield and fly pen, and you sew past the notch, and then continue set and stop here. I'm just using pin to show you that I already set left side of zipper tape onto my left pant. I'm ready to set right zipper tape onto my right pant. So this is the front of the zipper. You will right side face the right side of the facing with 1/2 inch space from the edge, the distance between teeth and the edge of the facing, 1/2 inch space, and pin the zipper tape onto your facing only. pin all the way to your facing only, and go to machine. You can use the same presser foot, and stitch. So it give a little bit room between teeth and the stitching. So you would do that single needle after zipper end, reverse stitch. So here's the example of the step that we just done. I call it step 2. The step 1 just mainly just set the zipper facing only to separately, only to pins. So this is second step. So we did this edge stitching, sandwich, and then edge stitching, and the right pin, just like earlier when we set the zipper tape on the left hand, you could use hand basting stitch if you think you might stitch crooked, because flat front zipper you want to have it evenly. For women's swim, for this one it's about 1/8 inch distance from the stitching to the edge of the facing. You stitch parallel to the edge of the facing, and you stop, reverse stitch. Okay, so for any kind of top stitching, I don't suggest a student to mark using pencil because it will show on outside. Some of the magic marker they get in the store, it still cannot get rid of this marking. So I really recommend students to do hand basting, and if you can, try to find the same colors your fabric, because some of the thread may leave the dye there, but very rare. But I recommend students to do the hand basting as a guide to follow when you do machine stitching. So this is the second step. You have zipper on your right zipper tape on right pen, your left zipper tape on your left pen. First step, we set left zipper on left side between left pen and shield, and we stitching half-inch stitch, and you turn to the right side, you edge stitch all the way. On the left pen, we already attached right zipper tape onto the right pen's facing. Okay. The main second step. So this is the finishing. This is by machine. So here's the center front notch. As you can tell, if I zip, this has a nice 1/4 inch coverage without showing the zipper tape. So for the second step, we need to do is we need to sew the crotch seam. The red notch indicates zipper end, and I'm just using the pinning, and you will need to switch to one side foot or cording foot, and you will stitch. In reality, you will set front leg to your back leg, front leg to your back leg, and sew the whole crotch. But because we're not going to sew back pants for the notebook item, just leave 1 inch open here, okay? And switch to the cording foot and reverse stitch, curve, and overlap, passing the zipper tape here, overlap 1/2 inch for durability, okay? So after the crotch seam below zipper is stitched from the front side, you will have the pants, but this still not set. So you will need to open your zipper tape. Open. This is very important. Sometimes students think they will stitch together with a shield. Then you won't be able to function this fly front zipper. So be sure to open, unzip your zipper, and top stitching parallel from the edge of the facing. You will use ruler and make a small dot using same color of the fabric, color pencil, very small dot, or just a dot, a few dots, or you will sew hand basting as a guide. So for example, you will use ruler, and this is how you tie knots. Let me show you one more time. Okay, leave the knot on top and use your ruler 1/8. Use this as a guide. When later you apply machine stitching, this is very helpful because it's very hard to for student to eyeball, even though machine has a gauge to go by. So this could be helpful. So for example, like this 1/8, and even basting is just a temporary. So later we will remove. But if you prepare this with extra step, it will make the finished work much easier. Sometimes additional step will save you much time than redo over and over. So you will do the basting, stop at the corner when it's about to turn, because you only basting stitch to set the facing and pants together. So for example, I finish basting, and then I will go to sewing machine, and I can just use a regular presser foot, regular one. This one will be fine, the skinny with both sides. This will be fine, or the regular to sew. And before you turn to curve, reverse stitch. Okay, and then from the front, you zip, and then you can do the hand basting to go to do the curve. Here's a zipper end right here, so you can hand basting stitch together layers of all layers, shield, zipper tape, facing, both legs, both pants, and only the below that part. Stitch them together with reverse stitch to beginning and at the end. So here's the example of finishing. Okay, so your pants, the top stitching only apply to right pant parallel before turn curve. Before, so this is the right pant, and then you will zip them together and stitch. I have basting as well for me to go by, so I can stitch curve. So on the back, you can see this the remaining part, the curve is to stitch all the layers together. So for the pants, and we leave this 1 inch, like I said earlier, so you can sew to your back pants, and later sew the entire back crotch, back rise together. So this is the fly front zipper for the notebook items. I will try to just cut this off so you can be fit in a 8.5 by 11 paper, so you can download that from the course canvas site.